It's been one of the goals of my professional life, and I think he knows this because we had this chat at Fantasy Camp years and years ago, to make sure that anybody who has studied the history of the Montreal Expos recognizes how good this guy was. They don't even get close to Blue Monday without the pitching that he provided the Expos down the stretch in 1981. For a 9 or 10 year stretch, this is a guy who pitched, he made 40 starts one year. He pitched 300 innings. He was as good as anybody. I remember almost everything about his career, except his first start, because I was playing baseball his first start. I heard that they brought up this pitcher that we never heard of before, right? Steve Rogers, in the middle of this 1973 season, which turned into a magical season. The franchise was 4 years old, and they were in a pennant race. A lot of people don't remember this. As late as September the 17th in 1973, the Expos won a first of a doubleheader against St. Louis. September the 17th, they moved into first place at Jarry Park. Then they lost the second game, and they lost a whole bunch of games after. He went 10-5 with a 1.54 ERA in 1973. And maybe if they had recalled him earlier, I don't know if you remember, it was at a bar at a fantasy camp that Mike Stenhouse used to run, and this was in the 90s. And there were already rumblings that the Expos were in some trouble and we might lose the team. And I remember having a deep conversation. Steve kind of bared his soul that night. There was alcohol involved, but he was very, very emotional, saying, the only thing I know is the Montreal Expos. If what happens to people like me, how are we to be remembered? I never pitched for wherever city they were going to head to, and there was a lot of talk of Virginia and Washington. That's not me. I don't want to be part of that history. And it was bleak, and then we did lose the team, and it was dark. But now, as you mentioned, with the Expos Nation events that you've attended, Expos Fest, you could feel it, can't you?
There's no doubt, Mitch. It's a groundswell, and I'm sure it's generational, because the fathers, the mothers and fathers that had a chance to go with their parents to the Expos games and share that time with their parents now can't do that with a baseball team. And the kids have heard about the Expos and about the glory days. And now I think everybody has just started to understand that it had much more value other than just 9 innings every night or for 81 games in a summer. It was about families, and it was a family event. And I think they're embracing that in this city and in this province. And I'm excited because the movement over the last 2 or 3 years has really got this city on the cusp of either an expansion or maybe moving a franchise. And I applaud it. I'm thrilled that it's taking place.